How's it going, everybody? This is Matt from Rental Space, and this is how I made my song, Call Me When You're Better. Call Me When You're Better. This song started as a means for me to vent about a very toxic relationship that I was in at the time. I was involved with someone who like to play games, and it got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Even though I still like you, call me when you're better. Call me when you are in a different spot, and maybe things could be less complicated. That never happened, but all right. So let's get into how the song is laid out. Let's do the guitars first because that was the first instrument I ever learned how to play. All right, so let's break down what's happening there. Basically, we've got two tracks. Both of them are panned stereo width apart, I guess. One's on the left, one's on the right, almost completely. And we got some EQ, some compression, some tape saturation, some chorus, some more EQ just for some nice mixing effects, and some reverb. We got this acoustic guitar reverb, which I really like. It gives everything a lot more space. Whenever I mix something, I like things to sound like they're on a cloud, and this really helps add that effect to it. So here it is without. I kind of already got some delay going on in the other plugins just to make it start filling space, but that pretty much just adds like a percussive layer to it. Here it is with it on. Yeah, there's some flubs in there, but no big deal. It starts to sound all dreamy and wavy and stuff, which gets into like the whole aesthetic that I kind of try to go for with every song that I make, at least right now. Yeah, and I think that this is another cool thing to mention is this is also a nylon guitar, and so when I was mixing the song, I wanted it to obviously sound like a steel string because like a nylon kind of mixed in with like something that's supposed to be like a pop rock song or an indie song doesn't really sound very good. And so it's kind of buried in the mix, and I was happy because if you hear it all together, it kind of sounds like a steel string guitar. So yeah, fun stuff there. If we get into the electric guitars, it's kind of a similar deal. I love the strokes, so every time I mix like a rhythm guitar sound that's an electric, I always kind of pull from that influence, which is probably pretty obvious here, There's not really a whole lot going on that's super crazy. Basically, you have a pedal board with some more chorus on it, a compressor, a CLA guitar, and some more reverb because space. Now we can give some attention to the bass. Everybody loves the bass. Slap at the bass. Slap at the bass. Okay, so here's the bass sound completely isolated. Basically just trying to sound like Paul McCartney when I'm playing that. It was not the right fingering either, by the way. I haven't played this part since I recorded it, but there's some cool stuff happening here. Got another EQ on here. This is in mono. It definitely should not be in mono. That's a mistake I made in the process, but mea culpa. You got some more compression, a mixing stack that's completely clean, some tape saturation that's like running as a bass DI. Basically, analog tape emulator is what this is. It adds that saturation that you get from a tape machine that's actually analog. And we got reverb. Now let's take a look at the drums. Drums are arguably my favorite thing to program, especially right now because I don't have a drum kit with me out here in Los Angeles. So every time I'm able to program drums and get into my drummer state of mind, it's really nice. If anyone knows of a space out in Los Angeles, put it in the comments below where I can start playing my drums for free because I miss that right now. God, I miss my drums. So the chain on these is pretty much identical to what I'm doing with a lot of the other tracks. You have like preamp EQ, compression, tape emulation, mixing, EQ, and then reverb and delay. The only thing that's different is I put an overhead stereo tape effect on there, and basically what that's operating as is the overhead mic that you would hear if you were recording drums in a acoustic drums in a big studio. Because how drums are recorded in big studios is they put basically two mics on top of the drums or directly above them, and then it gets the whole kit, and that's the main drum sound. So all the mics that are on the drums tend to be not as loud, and the main drum sound is coming from the overheads. Since this was recorded in a completely digital setting, obviously these are just MIDI drums, and I didn't actually like play acoustic drums like in a room or whatever. This acts as like the overhead that gives it the sound of a drum set filling the space of a room. A lot of times when you hear like MIDI drums from like less experienced producers, it's so dry and direct and in your face, which for hip hop is great, but for something that's supposed to sound more like a pop rock track in a way, the space that you get from adding something like that into the chain is super game changing for how it's perceived by a listener's ear. Just to give an example of what that sounds like, here is the kick drum or kick one without the overheads. Let's with it off. Now turn it on. It's starting to fill up space, and it's starting to feel like it's actually in a room and there's like a real drummer playing it. Same thing goes for the snare. Pretty cool, right? Now let's go to the keys. So I was not a very proficient piano player when I started working on this track. I'm a lot better now, but at the time I was very, very rudimentary still. So the keys part is very simple as a result of that. It's pretty much just quarter notes the whole time, and it's a 1-4-6-5. So here are the keys completely isolated. One, 4, 6, 5. You know, you get the idea. Here they are without any effects on it. Like the tone's all there and stuff, but it still needs to be filled out a little bit more. So then you put all this magic on top and Now it fills the room. Now we can look at the vocals. The vocals are pretty much what you get in a standard mixing chain for a vocal. Here it is with some EQ, some de-esser, some auto-tune, compression, and some tape emulation.
Said you never wanted to call me up.
Sounds pretty good already. I wanted to get weird, so I put some chorus on top. I did a mixing channel, a gate, which you just sort of need, some saturation, delay, reverb, some more EQ, and a vinyl warmth plug-in at the end. So here we go with everything else on top. Oh no. Oh no. Here it is with everything on top of it.
Said you never wanted to call me up.
Now it sounds like a record, right? Pretty sweet. Anyways, so that is my tutorial. I hope y'all have enjoyed learning about Call Me When You're Better. Please keep streaming the song, running up the numbers. Every stream counts. I really appreciate it. And look forward to some more videos on how I make my music coming real soon. Stay cool.